Welcome to
What
Pack Talking. What up?
Back
We got
talk.
our
Let's go.
we got our boy Steve here from New Jersey.
Yes.
Friend, a mentor, just a all around good dude, an amazing dog trainer, killing it on the social media. I want to say thank you for all that great work you're doing on the social media. We in particularly always send our clients to you social media wise because you have top notch stuff on there. So thank you for doing that.
Appreciate that.
Um,
Appreciate that.
yeah,
A
no,
lot of work. It's a lot of work for sure, but it's worth it.
yeah,
We got to get the education out there. It's so difficult. Like, there's so many contradictory ways of dealing with dogs and all different angles. I mean, you guys probably deal with it. Your clients, people come in, they're just so confused. They're like, I don't know what to do. I want to help a dog, I want to do better, but they don't know what to do. So it's like, do I do this force free? Do I correct? Do I medicate? They don't know what to do.
yeah,
The goal of that page is not to leverage. I'm not trying to tell people what to do. I think it's the last thing. Of course, like Caesar taught us, we never tell anybody what to do, but it's more so of just saying, this is what I'm doing. This is what we've done to have success with dogs and help people build relationship with dogs. If you like it, awesome. Let me know how it works. If you don't, I really don't give a shit. So, bottom line.
yeah. Considering the amount of success you've had with dogs, it's it's probably a good idea to listen, at least to check in and see what we
Yeah.
agree with or don't agree with.
Yeah.
If you're the average person, I agree with basically everything you do on there, man. It's awesome. From you even show people how to put the leash on from the most minuscule to a lot more complicated stuff still.
You
We
know what I'll
love
tell
it.
you about that is like when I started doing media, it was like I fell into the whole game of let's start showing off and try to show all the other trainers and behaviors and all that shit how good I am. And then the public's like, I don't know what the hell are you guys talking about. Like it was too complicated for them. We're talking about like complex behaviors and shit. People are like, I just want my dog to like not growl at me or like walk it well on leash. Can you show me how to do that? Easy stuff. So I was like, and even starting to do that content, I felt like no one's going to want this stuff. No one's going to want to see any of this like basic stuff. But then all of a sudden, that's when the engagement started like going ramped up, And I started really keeping it as basic as I possibly could for people to understand. You know what I mean? Because like talking about operating conditioning, people are going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But if you're just talking in basic terms, so they can understand, that's to me the most important, that they can understand it. So that's the premise of it right now.
Natural, simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super grateful for your page, and along with a couple other trainer friends of mine too, because most of the time, I'm sure, like the clients you get, well, they're so far behind too, and I do a lot of intervention dogs, and people are so far behind, and I come there for the consult. I'm like, dude, look, you guys, this is going to take a long time for you just to understand this philosophy, and you to understand that this is the energy it takes, but that's not even the real skill set. You being aware and your reaction, your response, and slowing down is like, people are so far behind. It's grateful for pages like yours where we can send people to kind of just, you got to immerse yourself in this. After you leave here, like after I leave right now, is when this is like not even the tip of the iceberg. We can see it from a distance.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah, it's almost like the wake up call for them. You know what I mean? They're coming in being like, "Oh yeah, this trainer guy is going to help me get my dog stop barking." Like I said, they're thinking like solve this one problem, and we're like bringing it back to like, so let's teach this whole dog psychology thing, the relationship, the instincts, and all that. A lot of times it's overwhelming for them in the beginning. So it's good to have, you're right, like it's good to have info after that for people to go and like go through it at their own pace and understand and stuff. I even think like I would love to eventually like do like a course for free for people, like a full course, so people could just understand like the basic shit. You know what I mean? Because my page is it's good. I have a lot of information, but it's so scattered. It's like whatever is up there that day, and it's like, oh, go look up separation anxiety. People have to like scroll and try to figure out where it is. So I think eventually doing that would be really good for people too.
You know what I think would make a great show? I'm sorry, Ben. You know what I think would make like a great show is just someone following one of us basically through our day, showing this is how we take every dog out of the crate. This is how we do this. Like break it down to every single step and show literally all the fine little nuances in each individual case and like explain why we're doing what we're doing. And then like eventually, like if people were to like digest enough of that information, I think that they would, that I don't do that with my dog. Just this little minute thing here and this little, but it's like
Hey, that's all it is.
It really is. It's all the little wins that come and stack up to the big wins, and no
Really
one
good point.
realizes that.
That is
Everybody
a really
always
good point.
wants. Everybody just wants, oh, I want my dog to stop barking. But it's like, well, if you want your dog to stop barking, maybe you should let them out of the crate a little less excited.
Right.
Maybe you should, not feed them when they're that excited, or you know what I mean?
Your dog in the crate a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah, that too.
Right.
Whatever it may be. Like, I think a great show would just be to follow one of us around, show exactly what we're doing every single moment. Basically,
it's so true, dude. Because I did a video one day. I was like, "Hey, I'm low on content." My editor hadn't like sent shit back, and I'm like, "I gotta do something." I'm like, "All right, let me just show how I can take my dogs out of the crate." But I was like, in my mind, I'm like, "This is like no one's gonna care about this shit, whatever." And it was like crushed in views. It was like me with my phone, just like doing this, nothing professional about it, and people were like, I never would have thought of this. And to me, this is the stuff that we got to remember, though, as the professionals, that people don't understand just the basic stuff. We're so like, yeah, we're already outside showing them something, and they're like, they don't even know how to like even like start undoing the crate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, what energy should they be? Like the whole thing.
They're trying to write a book and they don't know the alphabet yet. Basically, you know what I'm saying? Like, because we had
Bobby, there goes Bobby with the quotes. I love that shit.
Well, no, that was literally like a Lynn kind. We had him on the podcast recently, and he kind of was. He basically was like they're trying to make like sentences, and they don't even know about the fucking alphabet yet. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So yeah,
all those little things, because they're not even thinking about any of that little stuff that adds up. They think it's like, give me the secret. What's the big thing I have to do? What's the one change? It's like, no. So all the little changes are going to add to the big change. There probably are some bigger changes that still need to happen, but all that little shit is where the real value is in the relationship. Because people they're unconscious. That's the bottom line. They're unconscious with their dogs and they're just like petting them, do whatever. And then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we got to go for a walk. And they're like asking their dog to out of nowhere see them as a leader, be calm, followers. It's like, it's not realistic. They have to understand this is a full entire relationship all the time.
It's an immersive type thing.
Do you think that dog psychology? I believe, I don't know what the term is, but I believe dog psychology, the term is just not accurate enough. I think.
I agree.
I don't know what it's going to turn into some long-haired ass word, though. It's going to be like.
How would you define it in a sense? Dog psychology, Steve.
I mean, look, at the basic level, it's how dogs see the world, right? It's like technically psychology. What's the study of, right? The psyche of a dog. But that's why I know what you're saying, Ben. It's like we're not really. I mean, technically, we still are studying their psychology and stuff, but we also understand it deeply. So we're not like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like we're.
I think it could be called leadership awareness.
Yeah,
because then you can use that, and because then you so quickly that this turns into you being a teacher. This turns into you being the best hairstylist. This turns into you being a safe garbage man. Is that you have to be aware of what you're dealing with, even if it's the shit that might rip from this bag, or the hair that this lady doesn't have a lack of that shouldn't put extensions in.
The great thing about the dog is it lives in the moment, and that's if we let it, like, it teaches us to live in the moment, and that's those little nuances are all in the
You know what,
moment.
Bobby? I thought also about that, like the living the moment thing. I think that's why people like excessively pet their dogs, like because it gives them a brief moment of actually being in a moment with their minds, who are like in past future pretty much all day long, worried about work, what happened last year, and all this stuff. And the dog brings them to like, oh my God, I'm present. But that being said, like a lot of people are still, even in that moment of petting doesn't mean just consciousness, because a lot of people are unconsciously petting their dogs. And unconsciously petting a lot of yeah. So I heard something interesting. I was thinking about this the other day of like, people always say, what do people always say why they pet the? Well, I love my dog. I love my dog. So a lot of times, I don't know if you guys do this, but I'm like, so what does that mean to you, though?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it's a great way. It's a great way to break it down.
People say, like, I love my dog. And I'm like, what does it mean? And they're like, oh, it means like petting them and just caring for it. I'm like, all right, but what about their needs? Do you walk them? Do you like give them rules, bounds, limitations, provide leadership, any of that stuff? They're like, well, no, I don't want to do that because I love them so much. So to me, that's the opposite. That's not loving them. That's selfish. You know what I mean?
They don't realize that rules, boundaries, and limitations are something the dog craves and needs, and that the exercise is something the dog physically needs so that it can be mentally stable. Even you know what I mean? It all connects in a sense. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's my biggest selling point when I'm on the phone with somebody, especially if I feel like they need help, want help, and they're on the fence. I'm like, dude, I'm here just to teach you how to love your dog better. I'm here to teach you how to love your dog the way it wants to be.
Right. And they think it's like, oh, so you're going to teach me how to pet it and hug it and cuddle it?
Yeah.
No, we're going to actually provide rules and limitations, exercise, and understanding and relationships. So that's actual love. Because think about what's love. What's love without consciousness? If I'm just like doing this thing and petting this dog, that to a degree is like need. It's almost like need. Like I have a need to feel this thing for myself. I don't even know what the dog is, if this is good for the dog or not, but for me, it feels good. So it's really like a need to feel loved myself. And then the humans spin it in a way of I'm loving the dog. Meanwhile, the dog's on anxious, on Prozac, like doesn't get walked, has aggression, like whatever the issue is. So I'm like, if you love that dog so much, how come you're not helping it? You know? But then again, at the same time, when people are saying about the help, I also understand them too, because there's a lot of conflicting information. And in my opinion, a lot of bad information is being spread by people. And it's confusing the hell out of people. They don't know what to do at this point.
But
Overwhelming
understand where discipline is.
And that's the other thing. It's like, what do they see discipline as? And think about this: childhood matters for people too, because if you say discipline to like like a Navy SEAL or like one of these pro athletes, they're like, yeah, absolutely, you have to live by discipline. You know what I mean? But if you say it to like someone who was like, let's just say had an overbearing father, right, in childhood, and they saw they were disciplined, and it was like a bad event, traumatic type of thing, they're like, fuck your discipline, I'm not doing any of it.
What I
It reminds them of what that parent did to them as a child,
I think that's a huge problem in today's world, outside even of dogs, is the way we define words is all individualistic, and
right?
we with our own baggage to each word, and that clouds that word. And so we try to use these words to converse with each other, and they're all, my version is different than your version, and we're trying to have a conversation. It's like,
Yeah.
no, yeah, it's
and think about all the words like dominance, pack, like all these words. It's like to people, it's such polarizing words. So when people say there's no such thing as a pack, and I'm like, okay, like what does that mean to you? What does a pack mean to you? To me, it means a family, it's a social gathering, a group of thing, right? To them, they're like, it's not a wolf pack. I'm like, yeah, no, it's not a wolf pack. I agree. Like, so we're on the same page.
A family's a pack.
Right.
If you look at it, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a group of a species living together and like providing each other's needs and wants, basically. You know what I mean?
I really think that people think when they see like pack and pack leader, and they see our stuff and everything, or Caesar or whatever, they think that we think we're like wolves and like are going around the house like pinning dogs down and like being so like fucking dominant nonstop and everything. I can curse on here, right? Is it all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All the way, do it. Gary V it up, bro.
Yeah, and it's the New Jersey in me over here.
Yeah, we're all
I
good.
think that's like a big factor in it. Yeah.
Hey, just speaking on that too, real quick, because I grew up very disciplined, and my dad was in the military. My mom was a school teacher, and I was with my dad the other day, and I was in front of a client, and I was cursing. And he's like, and he didn't say anything. I was like, "What do you think about all that?" What I was saying to that client, he goes, "I think you said everything great, but why do you curse so much?" And I actually kind of gave him similar to what Gary was saying. I was like, dude, like it feels better if I say this and opposed to this. Like that's more authentic to myself.
You're just being authentic. Exactly.
But the hard part, I understand people like they get offended by words and stuff. There's something about it. I guess it's childhood or whatever it is. They don't like it, and it can get excessive. I definitely can get excessive with it. I'm not trying to rub people the wrong way, but I really had to sit down with myself as the media started picking up. Like, some people were like starting to say like, what, you can't say this without saying the F word or blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I could, but like, I feel like I would be in my mind being like, all right, so don't say F, but like, what am I gonna, and then it would just completely confuse. I wouldn't be able to give you what really I'm thinking about it. Like when Gary said that thing, it was so good. Like it feels to me like I fucking give a shit about you. You know what I mean? Like that's what it feels like. I care about you. It's like, but I feel, you know what I mean? It's the feeling behind it.
It's so crazy though. Like my dad's one of the most disciplined people in many regards, and I explained that to him. I was like, dude, I was explaining. I was like, I'm a good person. I was like, you see how happy those people were. See how good that dog went, and I don't want to say woo me, but I was like, you could have just said, hey, good job. I was like, but as a joke though, it was more of like he's a huge disconnect for him understanding not me to be myself and swear, and I'm not in corporate roles. It's a funny thing that you even brought it up, and I just
I deal with that with my father. My father's from this, like Bobby, you know my father. My father's from the South Bronx, right? Like I worked with him before I got involved with dogs in a construction business. That guy would swear. He cursed a lot. Fucking da, da, da. We would do all this stuff. And then when I would curse, shh, no cursing, dude. Watch out.
Do what I
So
say, not as I do.
yeah, but I was like, but at the same time, you have to understand from a father perspective, I guess from the parent perspective, they're looking out for the best for us. Let's put it that way.
No doubt.
So also
No doubt.
reflects kind of poorly on them, if you're cursing
right.
and right in front of them too, they're like, "Hey, you're not supposed to." Society says,
like almost disrespectful. Yeah,
and it's all the society coming in and like trying to influence, like, oh, that's why you shouldn't do this, and
it was
and
with the conversation of discipline too, and you just swore it was like a good time into it because like my dad is 60s, I'm 34. He's like, hey, why do you got to do that? He's kind of cracking me.
It's a little excessive,
yeah. Good time.
I think that's a really important point, though, is the authentic self thing. I think it's like huge. I think that's so important in the world nowadays. Like I've been even doing more about myself with that stuff about like the media, like the media. I agree that I've been doing has been pretty good, but like sometimes I look at it and I'm like, this isn't right about my like true authentic self though. I'm more like vanilla down to like, give I don't know. I don't know what it is. I've been looking more into that for myself though, wondering like, why am I not doing it as much? Like, why am I?
Let me just say, I think you'll be the most successful when you're the most authentic, and
I agree.
you just don't give a shit about anybody. Like this podcast, like I've had some people say, "Oh, well, you don't talk about dogs all the time," and this, and I'm like, "Yeah, well, it's me and my friends kind of bullshitting a little bit
This
too."
is what we want to talk about.
Yeah, and whether it doesn't matter one way or the other, it matters, but that I'm having a good time. I'm disseminating some information I feel worth putting out, and that's it. If you want to come along this journey, come. If not, then don't. Like, I'm not forcing anybody. It's just like come along,
Yeah,
so
like nobody can be you better than you.
exactly. Everybody else is taken, by the way, anyways.
Yeah.
So even if I wanted to be you, you're already you. So
And
that would just be me trying to be me being you. And what the hell is that? But like a puppet or something, you know what I mean? So
you know what that thought about that too is that I think some people hear that, like even when I hear it, like I know that that's true, but putting my best foot forward, going to be that person is super hard to do, even for me. My
you're
employees
worried about society or somebody else's view on you. When you really,
well, dude, what about cancel culture and all this shit too? Like we have livelihoods and businesses. Like we're like, it's kind of ridiculous to me that we live in America, and I'm like, I don't know if I can say this thing because they might take away my business and destroy my whole life. It's like, what? It's kind of whatever. I'll get off.
To be honest, this whole cancel culture, some people might cancel you, but the real people that really follow you, they're not gonna be just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, if I'm canceled and these people that are not true followers are taken away, by all means, go. I want the real hardcore. I'd rather have 3 friends than 300 that are kind of associative, but 3 that are hardcore. You know what I mean? So to me, like, cancel me, bro. Like, that just is going to wipe out the people that don't understand. And I want bring the real people that do in, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, that it's whether we put it on or not is, I talk to my employees and my clients in front of everybody, and we're talking about things to work on. And I told everybody, like, the one thing I need to work on is being more confident as a person. And like everyone around me is like, what do you mean? Like, you seem like you're like for sure the most confident person I've ever met. And I know I have confidence. I have confidence in a lot of different directions that most people do, but like personally, I have like this huge obligation. I feel that I have to start putting shit out on social media just because of me. Not saying it's bad to send people to you or Lynn or Todd or whoever, but it's just like this obligation of like, damn, dude, like, there's no reason why I can't put even what you're saying, simple shit. Like I just get in my head about it. Maybe it's because of cancel culture or failing, but I think ultimately I just think I'm not confident in being authentic with all the information I have.
Yeah.
And then putting it out in a way that is mine. That's what I feel like I struggle with.
I agree with it. I think it has to do for me. It has to do with like, bringing more like topics like that. It's like the more authentic you are, the more real that you gives, even just posting. I'm saying just even posting online. It's, to me, in the beginning, for me, it was the fear of attracting like people who are just gonna fucking like hound me and like argue with me. I'm like, I'm trying to run a business. I got a lot of things going on. I don't want to deal with all that. But then you realize you don't really have to deal with it if you don't want to. What I've realized over time is like those like the people who comment all this negative stuff. Like, what kind of place do you have to be in? You're like, okay, let me like wake up today. Let me get online and let me go on Ben's page and try to bring him down. You know,
you know what's crazy is that my whole life I've never really cared necessarily what other people think. It's like the worst form of lacking confidence, where it's just my inner confidence. It's like, I'm worried at watching that video and be like, dude, listen to how I sound. Look at how I look right there.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, no doubt. But that's just the thing I was telling my employees and my clients were there too. They were just in such disbelief, and I was like, dude, if I have to be more confident, guess what you guys have to be? You know, just
people will be shocked to hear it. I'm for sure people around you, and like even for me, like when I say like, yeah, like I don't really want to do that. It makes me like feel a little bit like nervous to like talk about that. People are like, you, that guy in Jerry, what? That guy? I'm like, what? So if you perceive me as like this ultra confident guy, like you're not perceiving the thing. Like I feel, yeah, I have confidence for sure about certain things. And the more you do media, the more you get used to like this kind of a thing. And whatever people are going to say, they're going to say this. And the more times you hear, like, this guy's an idiot, no such thing as Pat, debunked, you're this, you're like, whatever, all right, this is just noise now at this point. You're the same, like, type of person over and over and over again. I'm just not engaging. I just don't engage with them anymore. If they're interested in the conversation, that's fine. But I think it's realizing that person is likely way more insecure than you. And it's trying to, like, bring you down and make you feel insecure. Because I'll tell you, like, do you know any super confident, successful people who are like going on other pages, bringing people down? I don't.
Zero.
Zero. So it's always going to be coming from the bottom up, trying to grab you, bring you back down.
Always. And it's just you allowing yourself to be brought down if you allow it. You know what I mean? So I don't even read comments like, or if I do, or if I disagree with them, I don't even engage, bro.
Yeah.
Like if it's somebody that really wants to like have a conversation, like you said, then I will totally 100% give a full, like myself.
But again, I think people are very sensitive these days to words and all those things, but it comes down to, in my opinion, like a very, I think humans are getting softer and softer and weaker when it comes, because they're all sitting on their phones. They're on front of screens. They're not taking time to actually be like, wow, my dog would maybe teach me something about life. I could get out there, go on walks. I could actually influence it. Anyway, I just think that it's a very difficult tightrope to walk, I would say, right now, with like certain words and things like that. And I think that, Ben, for me, is like one of the ones why I might not be as authentic as I am, because I'm kind of like, is one of those words going to slip out and then someone's going to think I'm like this thing, you know? But the more I do that, I'm like, if it comes out, it comes out, and then I'll explain it, and it is what it is. If people want to cancel me and never talk to me again from hearing one word, then I don't want to be anything to those people anyway. Because it's the same thing in dog world, politics, all these things. It's like you're either on this side or this side. It's like, and it's like, well, what about all this shit in the middle? Like, whether your political views are left or right, it's like I might have some left views and right views.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It doesn't mean I agree with everything of the person. Like positive trainers, there's some positive trainers, reinforcement trainers. I'm like, this person doesn't really seem to not understand the concept of dogs at all to me. However, that one thing they did right there with that dog actually was pretty good.
Yeah. No, like I think positive trainers are amazing. If you want a dog to turn on a light switch or open a door handle or do something that is not what a dog naturally does, positive training by all means, dude. That's what you're great for, and that's what you should be used for. But when it comes to a dog reacting to something, positive only is not going to help. Like not going to always help. It might help in certain situations, but it's not always going to help. And that's where you need to be. Yeah, it is. It's part of the equation.
It's not the whole equation.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
So it's like they're just trying to distract dogs and get them to look at things like, and I'm like, all right, well, do you realize by definition, Mr. and Mrs. Science people, it doesn't stop any behavior? They're like, well, da-da-da-da-da. They come up with this whole thing.
Well, think about what they're doing. They're just distracting the dog from whatever it is, and then the dog never deals with what it is. They never get follow through. I know if you watch this last dog psychology podcast with Art, he made a comment that I kept saying follow through with Todd's podcast, because that's what people don't know what to do or how to do, or you know what I mean, like when to do, or and so but that's the key. Like if you can actually follow through, that's my God, dude, it's so huge.
It's also like understanding. Like you get one side who's like doing all this treat stuff and like basically to me just avoiding problems and distracting and like kind of like look over there, don't even look at that thing, and like all good stuff's over here. And then you have the other side who's like there are a lot of trainers out there who are pretty like using a lot of coercion, like hardcore correction shit, and then like not doing enough, in my opinion, of like the reinforcement things and stuff. So it's such a combination of it. Like I'm punishing this fight state lunging thing you did, even if you're fearful, by the way. People don't have a heart attack. You can correct the fearful dog, by the way. Dog goes nuts, barking, barking, barking. You're correcting the fight fate of that dog. And then, okay, you're not going to do that behavior anymore. What do you want to do? I would rather just pay attention over here. Let's reward you, you know what I mean? And then this is the biggest part, I think, which you guys get. A lot of them end there. I'm like, what about actually getting that dog to be with other?
I think that's the biggest part.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's like either don't look at them or you're gonna get like destroyed. Or here, look, I have all candy and great shit for you over here. It's like, but when does a dog actually get to like interact with that dog at some point and understand that all dogs aren't the end of the world?
Exactly. It's a practicing of avoidance in a sense.
Yeah.
That's all it really is. And that's what it's never, you never get to surrender. And
that's actually the really right way to put it, is like they leave a lot of these dogs in avoidance. Either way, they'll either leave them in avoidance, like paying attention to this thing, and it looks like the dog's in a nice heel doing this thing, but it's staring at that food or the hot dog in the guy's hand. Or you have the one who's like walking and the head's all the way down because they're going to get blasted with an e-collar or prong collar. Nothing wrong with those tools, but just used that way, it's like, I've gotten those dogs too. The ones who come and they're just like looking down and they don't want to look at anything because they're like, where's this
shutting down almost. Yeah.
It's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just waiting for the correction in a sense, and it's there's no participation. It's all compliance in a sense.
That's right. You do it because or else kind of thing, and the dog's like, that's one way to do it, but to me that sucks for the dog.
It sucks for any way to live a life.
You're just leaving it incomplete. That's true.
And to me, they're both leaving them incomplete. Like I'm saying, like both sides, like the heavy correction and the treat training side, they're leaving it incomplete. They're leaving it in like, here, just pay attention to food, but like we never really dealt with the problem. Hopefully you have food every time, because if not, good luck. Or you have the other one who's just like, I don't want to, like, I can't do anything, so I just won't move. So how is that complete? That's not complete. They're both stuck in avoidance.
Yeah.
Like, how can we get this dog to accept the presence of another dog, or for whatever the hell the stimulus may be, a bike, a kid, or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah, totally. It's the simple stuff, but it's not easy. And that's a lot of what we do. That's a lot of what we do. It's very simple, but it's not easy. It's like going to the gym and having a six pack. It sounds like if I do it every day, it's going to happen. It's simple idea, just not easy to, put out there. Do it every day.
Gym's in the fridge, man. Not at the gym, I think.
What is it?
So the gym's in the fridge, man. Not the six packs in the fridge.
So true. So
the
true.
Six packs in the fridge.
But like you were saying.
Go ahead.
No, six pack is in the fridge. I never heard that one actually. It's so true though. I was just listening to some podcasts. It's like 80% diet is like your six pack if you want that thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead.
It was me kind of off topic, but do you ever get into the four worlds or teaching your clients about the four worlds, or do you?
I explain it to them to a degree because if they've come with that shit in their head, like, well, I just want to do positive, like, I want to make sure this is positive. And I'm like, so what do you mean by that? Like, so this is the thing, the play on words a lot of them are using of like, I'm positive only. It sounds like a positive experience. Because like positive and operant conditioning is you're adding something to the scenario. So it's like, so you're addition trainers, I guess? Like, so what do you add?
No,
by the way, you're all positive. So you do positive punishment too, or no? No, I don't do that. Anyway, do you? I don't know. Do you guys?
I don't do it often, but I was just thinking about it because you're not living in the city now, but whenever I go to the city, I always feel like not always, but I would say more often I bring up the four worlds. I went to a client's house that was in downtown Chicago, and I could tell that her problem was her self-awareness of how she was viewing these dogs and how she needed to deal with this problem. And I just don't know if you ever see people because of the lack of awareness and how they deal with things. Like sometimes, like that lady, I gave them like equations and all these things, but I was like, you need to work on your self-awareness. You need to understand what world you're in. And then you just need to understand this is the Primal situation. This is what world I need to deal with it in. You know,
okay, I was talking about something else. You're talking about operating conditioning. I understand.
no, not the quad, not the four quadrants.
Spiritual,
the
instinctual, emotional.
spiritual, the instinctual.
Yeah, I think that's a huge one, and that's where most of our clients are going to be. They're going to be intellectual and emotional people. That's it. That's like the most, by far, the most.
Do you go into that though ever with your clients?
I do, but not that much, to be honest. I do sometimes. It just, sometimes it's like going into that stuff is like, that's to me, by the way, over the years of doing this, that's what separates the men from the boys, I guess you would call it, when it comes to the dog training thing, is your ability to influence people and get them to see it. You know what I mean? That's what you're talking about. Because all of us, like all of us are going to be fairly similar when it comes to handling a dog and what we're going to do. But how do we get that individual human to see it with their past, with their views of the world, like their things? So I do bring it up, but not that often, to be honest, because if I do bring it up, like the intellectual, emotional, sometimes I feel like it just confuses people.
Yeah. I just feel like I have a way of breaking it down that just is, because when I go to people's houses, like I used to try to give them as much information as possible. Now I give them like 4 things to work on. I'm like, this is just all I think you need to do. I was like, I'm not going to show you. I won't even show them how to walk the dog that day. I'll come by my facility and I'll give you a free leash lesson. And I would say 50%, maybe 60% of the people don't do the free leash lesson. Fine. I don't have to do it when I'm there. I don't have to go over that process. Your problem is
I think that's the evolution. That's the evolution of like doing this stuff, is like realizing, because I don't know about you guys, but for me in the beginning, when I was working with clients, I would go in there and put on a fucking performance. It was all about me. I did everything. I would talk. I would do everything with the dog. And I'd be like, all right, see you later. Good luck, like kind of thing. And the people were like, I have no idea what to do. There was a lot of stuff. I'm overwhelmed, kind of. And I was getting the same results. So now it's a lot of I'm having them do things. Or they'll ask a question like, so you think my dog should sleep in bed with me? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then number one, you get them to start like thinking about it and looking at their own scenario. And on top of it,
if they're asking that question, they have some sort of trepidation with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or somebody told them that it's not a good thing, somewhere along the line. It's like, maybe they already know that they shouldn't be doing it, at least as much as they're doing it. Or, you know what I mean? They know something's wrong, and that's why they're prompting the question. In a sense.
Yeah.
So,
or like, I mean, just say like, what do you think about this? I'm like, I don't know. What do you think about it?
Nice.
Because to me, it's more like getting them to think about things. And once they give me like what they say, I'm like, that's interesting. What about this, and I'll go through it elaborately with them. But you see it at TCW, the people just raise their hands. Caesar does this shit all the time. People raise their hand and they're expecting Caesar to just give them the gold like right away, and he's like, he gives them the gold, and they're like, you got it, and they're like, yeah, explain it back to me.
Exactly.
Love that part.
So we have to make sure you truly understand it.
To engage with the stuff that they've just learned, basically, even if it's parroting it back in some sort of way through their own version of it,
sloppy or something. It's not like exactly the right term or whatever, but as long as you have the understanding of it.
Yeah, and it's the engagement with the material that they've just learned, that's how they're going to be able to practice it better later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I would say also with that too, it's like people don't like being told what to do. So instead of like, all right, go home and walk your dog this many times and and here's the homework. It's like, so what are you going to do now, you think? And they're like, I'm going to walk them more. I'm going to get a backpack. I'm going to put them on place. And yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And then to them, they came up with that shit.
You're reversing it there. I turned into like Tony Robbins or Gary Brucka. I didn't know I was in. I thought I was educating, not inspiring. But no, I would say 80% of my job is inspiring people. Even if it's like the homework I give them, I'm like, dude, you have to write down energy equals emotion times intentions, and put it on your fridge. You got to put it over here. You got to know that dog lives with you, and if you're not constantly thinking that or feeling that or being aware of it, that's when they're going to fight.
I think it's our job to wake these people up to like how amazing a dog can enhance your life once you understand it.
Yeah, but part of that is they need to waken themselves up to their own stuff, because the reason why their dogs are reacting a lot of times is because they have their own issues.
Well,
So
my point is the dog has been trying to wake them up. They just don't know how to see. They don't understand.
I like that. That's a gem
The
right
dog's
there.
been trying. The dog's a therapist saying like, hey, like my anxiety. Don't you see my eyes bulging in my head with anxiety? Like that means I'm trying to tell you you're moving too fast, person. You know, like we're not getting enough exercise. Like you're on your phone all the time, but they don't have the way of saying like, hey, human. They can't speak. They're speaking in a dog language to them with their behavior. So that's why I think that, and think about what a better therapist, 100% honest and 100% in the moments. It's like these therapists today out there are like, yeah, come on back for the fucking 18th visit for 35 years. And it's like,
and these guys can't lie either. They can never lie either. You know, it's great.
Exactly.
They are the ultimate therapy. They are the ultimate reminder.
And that's the thing. That's like I'm trying to do some of those like, review videos to show like the body language and stuff to show people kind of agree what dogs are feeling. But then also like the problem with the body language thing is people are like, yeah, body language. I'm like, okay, but energy creates body language. So there's a feeling to that dog. Like, and I use the example like the wagging tail. That dog could be happy-go-lucky, or that dog be a second away from biting in that moment, right?
Context.
So you have to understand. So, and what state can we be in to feel energy to best calm state? So then, what should people do? Figure out how to calm. How am I going to do that? Good idea. Let's talk about that. Many ways. Go do meditations, cold showers. I don't know. There's a million things people can do for it. But you gotta remember, this world is trying to get us addicted to this thing. It's like pull us into that thing. Forget all that. Just scroll on here and make us money and become a zombie to like a million different things going on. And then we expect to go on a nice calm walk with our dogs.
Yeah.
Do you guys struggle with like the screen stuff at all? Like, I mean, for me, even, dude, I'll be trying. I post on like in the morning, so I'll post on like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, like the same video on all three. Right? As I post on Instagram, before I can even post, I'm getting caught up like in the scrolling. I'm like, oh, look what's Ben up to? Oh, there's Bobby. Oh, look at this thing happening in like over there. And then all of a sudden I'm into politics. I'm like, dude, I was just trying to make one post here. I had one mission to do. Then I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. Now I go to Facebook and I'm like, Facebook is like the news feed's right in your face. It's like, look at this about the New Jersey Devils. Or like, what? It's wild how that thing scoops you in. And I'll tell you, with my son now, so Steven's almost 6 months now, my son. I watch him. We don't give him any screens, none of that shit, right? But we'll have we'll go to a family party and like the game will be on in the background. Let's just say like I'm him and like I'm in the arms and the screen's behind. He's like this, like trying to see, like being like, it's almost like he's being sucked into that screen and being lured in. And I'm like at it. I'm like, he has no idea what a TV is or screen time or anything of that. And he is so not addicted, but like so pulled in and drawn to like, what is this thing?
They call it programming for a reason, bro. Like the programs, they call it programming for a reason. They're programs on TV because they are programming the people in a sense. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy is that I love to fish, and it's like my way to connect to nature and all that. But even fishing now, dude, I stare a lot of the day at this 12-inch screen. I'm just staring at the screen, watching my bait. Instant gratification of what that fish is doing, what my lure is doing, what he thinks of it. Oh, switch colors. You know, like goddamn colors and sizes and freaking but
that's taking you out of the natural, bro. That's taking you out of the natural. You got to be like the old school freaking guy with just a net and a spear or something. So that's the real instinctual stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I literally
Ben's out there throwing spears and shit at the fucking fish, and
spear checking Ben.
I turn that screen off and I go, I need some Indian and pirate energy going right now. And I just stop and look around. I'm like, oh shit, I'm in the middle of Lake Michigan.
Dude, I find you know what's crazy? I can totally relate to that. I live here, Bobby. You've been here. We're on 8 acres here. It's like beautiful out here. I find I'm sitting on the couch, like scrolling on my phone, like la 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 la, and all of a sudden I'm like, what am I? I literally like, I'm like, God, this thing. I'm frustrated with it. And I go immediately walk outside with no phone, nothing. People tell me like sometimes I'm the worst with my phone. I'm like, I think I'm actually better with my phone because I'm not obsessed with it. I'm not on it and like always being on. Oh, someone texted me. I had to answer right now. I'm like, I'm gonna take a 3-hour break from this phone right now. To be honest,
dude.
Sometimes I'll be like, go ahead.
I'll feel that, bro, and I'm like that, Steve. But like, I'll turn it up, bro. Like, I'll turn my phone on silent. Like, yeah, no one's gonna get a hold of me today. Yeah. The only first thing hold me, my wife. I was like, or my mom. And then I just do because I'm just trying to be happy. I'm just trying to be content, and I don't need to make everyone else happy besides myself. and
Yeah,
my wife.
it's like being in a state of like creating your life versus like reacting to like what's happening on this phone.
So that's hard. So I
Really
Creating
stay
hard.
away
it.
from that, but I'm aware of it. But I'm like defiant. So it's like everyone else is still doing phones and this and that, and I'm like trying to go back to, I don't know, just not use my phone. I hate it.
That's my biggest issue. As I would tell people, like with the phone is posting on social media. I want to be on there, like answer comments and like engage and teach the dog psychology thing. But that thing is so addicting. It's like I don't know how to give you an analogy, but it's like I don't know. It's like remember Vito's in Hoboken, Bobby, like the Italian deli. It was like amazing food in there. It's like going into Vito's to like I don't know like pay a parking ticket, and you're just like, oh my god, I'll actually take some mozzarella and an Italian combo, and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's right in front of your face. So I'm like trying to figure out a way where I could just like post and see my own shit and not have this news feed come on.
I think I'm just gonna hire somebody, and I think that's what I'm just gonna give one of my employees more money and a higher percent pay, and
That's a good way to do it.
this is your
That's not
responsibility.
to start
Take it out of your hands.
I actually talked to someone else about that, and they gave me really good advice. They go, make an incentive for them. If it's making you this much money, give them 10%, give them 20% of that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Steve.
Say again, Bobby.
Sorry, I was going to change topics real quick. Besides Caesar, who has been your biggest mentor in the dog world, and what had they showed you? Would you say the biggest thing they showed you?
Biggest mentor.
Yeah,
that's a difficult one.
Yeah,
I would say Caesar for sure. I mean, he's like. So when I started, it was like I started like pretty much everybody. Like, all right, let me read some of these dog training books. It was like all obedience and like these type of things, and I was like bored out of my mind. I was like, all right, cool, train. And then once I saw Caesar's show, I was like just mind blown by all that shit. So I really like heavy duty immersed into his stuff for sure, and then continued on like other mentors. Damn.
Is there anyone else besides Caesar you would ask a question to? Maybe.
Yeah, for sure. People I would ask questions about dogs or just conversations. Yeah, Lynn for sure. Like you mentioned, I would definitely talk to Lynn. Lynn's like incredibly educated about dogs and dog psychology. I would do it with Todd and Yoa, like the TCW trainers. Any of you guys for sure. Like I'm always down to talk about this stuff. Caesar would be really the one I would go to for like the advice. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm stuck with this shit. I don't know what to do, and I'm like, basically tell me what to do on this kind of thing. Like he's really the main one with that. But everybody else, I think, is like very valuable when it comes to all that stuff. But yeah, who would I go to for advice? I really don't. It's kind of crazy. Like, I guess it's really just talking with our community that we have. Like when I have something like, yo, you ever run into a dog like this, or blah 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 blah, or I got this person. You guys getting people like this, or you heard this thing, or how are you dealing with it? It's more of like that kind of sharing thing of our community. I think is like fantastic, which a lot of people don't know about how much our group like has like works together and talks together and does things like that. But yeah, I would say that's like the biggest thing that's helped me is like the community of trainers that we have. Because a lot of people see us as individuals. We're like, oh, there's Ben in Chicago and Bobby's over there and Steve's there and Todd's in Florida, Yoa's in there and Lynn's it's like, yeah, we are, but we are still in contact and still, and especially when we go to TCW. I mean, forget it. We're like all in when we go.
Speaking on that, what I really love about our community is we all support each other, whereas there's a lot of hate in the dog community amongst the trainers and stuff, talking smack about each other and this and that. None of us really do that with each other. It's so beautiful.
It's because our group, something we have agreement in is that we all want wellness.
Yeah,
we all want the same goal. Yeah, and so I think most of the time people just aren't. It goes back to self-awareness, man. Like from the very beginning of the conversation, it's like people driving like idiots. They don't know that they're doing that. I don't think even. I think that's just been conditioned from how they grew up or where they're at in life.
Right.
So people that are assholes.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're all in agreement on the foundation of this. Like with energy and instincts, rules, measures, limitations, timing of affection, like the whole concept of a dog, and then like the particulars. We listen to each other. Because we all have different experiences. Like I'm gonna have different shit out here in New York and New Jersey with these people, and like that you're gonna have in Chicago or LA or wherever you guys are. You know what I mean? It's gonna be different type of things that are happening, but a lot of it will be somewhat similar. So it's like, hey, have you ever had this type of case with this type of person? It's like, yeah, and you know what actually worked for me was this. Like, that's interesting. I would have never thought of that. So it's like that part. And I think we have a good community in the sense that it's like nobody's afraid. Like I'm not afraid to say like, dude, have you ever seen this? I've never seen it, and be like, oh, or is Bobby and Ben gonna like rip on me and make fun of me because of it? I'm like,
Yeah, no one's going to make you feel stupid or anything for asking a question. We're all supportive and basically love. We're all loving to each other.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
That's
We all
right.
want the best for each other and the dogs, and just it's. I love it. I feel just completely blessed to be a part of this.
It's amazing.
Small
It started
group.
with Caesar, obviously, right? Caesar started it, and then it became like getting the right people around, dude. I remember like I've been there for, it was like 11 years now. We've been doing this freaking workshop, and like the people who have come and gone, like different staff members and stuff. But like up probably about 5 years ago, things started to like solidify. If you guys noticed,
Really
like,
gelled.
yeah,
I've been there
we
about
got the
9
right
years.
people in place. We enhanced those relationships, and it's been really, really well, really, really good at this time. Caesar has no tolerance for the people with like the wrong energy, you know, or selfishness or anything. He's all about the pack. So he wants to make sure every member of the pack is in agreement and we're all doing well, not just one.
There was definitely a little more competitiveness and a little more bravado, I think, before the 5 years ago kind of solidified everything in a sense. And
100%.
You know, and the people that are here now are the congealed group, and it's beautiful. I highly
and it's the agreement on the mission too, to like help the world, but help people and dogs around the world. So when those 50 students come in, we're not all there like, all right, hopefully I could get these people to follow me or like buy my program. And we're like, I don't even think I go on social media the whole time I'm out there. You know what I mean? I'm like, we're all there for those people 100%. That's it.
Yeah, that is pretty.
Just on the human level or the dog level or whatever they
and it's not my business, so I can just really not have to feel any care about anything else other than making that person happy, making that
dog. Trying to do your best, basically, for the situation. That's how I love going up there for that.
And think about that workshop too. Like all those people come. I went there to agree for this, but like people go to that workshop thinking, "Hey, I'm going to learn this like gold info about dogs," and they do. What do they really learn about themselves?
Mm-hmm.
That's the main thing that people do. All these transformations people are having, all this awareness that people are having about themselves. You know, it's been fascinating to see all this stuff for all those years.
The light bulb moments and the tears that we've seen, and just the changing. It's beautiful. It's a very transformative experience. And
hey Steve, did you hear my mom went to the last TCW?
No.
Dude, my mom went. She went just. No, she doesn't even have a dog. She just went just for like the wellness factor of it all. And like, I would, you know, as I've gone there and just teaching her a little bit of this or that, and then she's like, I want to go. And then she went there, life changing, man. She changed her life. She's like, now I know how you feel when you came back and you're trying to tell people about energy and this or that. She's like, I came to realize that I really can't tell people about this. Like I can, not because I don't want to, it's because people aren't ready for it.
That's right.
Yeah. So
I was there when I came home. I came home from my first TCW. I was doing training sessions, and I was like, to the clients telling this stuff, they were looking at me like they saw like a ghost. They were like, "What?" It's
kind of like we're part of a cult, almost in a sense. You know what I mean? But it's a good cult, you know, like one that really.
It's just a group of people in agreement.
It's a commune or a community of people that all want to help each other do the best.
Like that's commune how you better. I like the word commune better than community because
they're from the same group. They're exactly the same.
It is. It's agreement, but luckily we're not in agreement about some crazy shit. We're in agreement about like love. We're in agreement about exercise, discipline, affection, and instinct, all the stuff, and energy of ourselves, and living to our full potential, dealing with our past, overcoming. Like, people really don't understand it. I try to like explain it, and then it's like kind of like, yeah, that's cool. It sounds amazing, but it's like you said, your mom, no matter what you told her about it, like even telling my parents, they're like, it sounds so great what you're doing. I want to get them to go to a workshop. I would love to get them.
So is that part for you right there? Like that's the part that I actually struggle the most with, is that there's just some days, bro, like I don't get overwhelmed or I wouldn't even say depressed, but it's like, dude, like this is hard as fuck, bro. I'm like, it's not even, the dog is not even hard to train. It's just the person. And then to teach you all the stuff that, you know, we're kind of like that inspirational part of it all.
Yeah.
Dude, I think that's the part I would like you on.
That's the hardest clients by far.
And that's why we all like why the team's so strong too, because we eventually run into that part. And then that part, you're like, dude, we need to dip in back into the group of people that are woke, or a group of people that share this similar belief or philosophy. And so that dip in there is like, oh yeah, you guys are, I don't want to say normal, but you guys are, I don't want to say more advanced,
Right.
or whatever the terms may be, but it's dipping back into the drinking the Kool-Aid again.
Yeah. Yeah. And how open-minded are these people to learn? You know what I mean? A lot of them are. That's what I'm saying. People always ask me, I'm sure you guys get this question, like, what's the most difficult dog you ever worked with? What's the craziest dog? And I'm like, okay, I'll give you like just a dog, but like to me, it's the people. You know what I mean?
My question to you right now was going to be, what would you say the biggest challenge you face most regularly as a dog trainer with your clients is?
The humans.
It's the humans always. But is there one particular thing that they tend to need the most, would you say?
That they need the most?
Yeah, just the whole like knowledge in general, would you say?
I think it's like, I think it's a matter of, are they coming in open-minded to even learn, or are they coming to like check a box and like get something done and see it their way also? You know what I mean? Well, it's cool, but I want to do it my way. It's like, so, all right, I can like we were talking about that. I could show you, here's the meals you need to eat to get your 6-pack. But if you're like, that's not true because this, that, blah, 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 blah. All right, well then do it your way. Why are you here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like maybe
go eat your cotton candy and come back with your 6-pack. You know?
Yeah.
Prove me wrong. Show me.
I would talk about like even dealing really quick with like some of more like the celebrity clients and shit out here. They become challenging at times. It's not just them too. It's like all people, but I find it more there because they're used to paying somebody to get a result. So I'm paying that guy to do my assistant work. I'm paying this guy to clean my house. I'm paying this guy to buy this. Like, you know, they're used to that, and they think they see us to a degree as that at times. Like, yeah, train my dog. I'm like, sir, that's not how it works.
I think that works. I think that applies to successful people, but not necessarily all celebrities. Because some of like the athletic celebrities, they know like, oh, I have to put in the work to be disciplined to get my body to, you know, because I've worked with, we have one client who's a celebrity athlete, and she's basically like, she's very in tune with us because she knows the work you have to put in, you know Correct. What I mean? So but some successful people or people with money, fame and money or fame necessarily, they want to just pay and have someone give them a product back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. It's within context. So like I agree with you. If someone said to me like, who are the best celebrities? I'm like, the athletes by far.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to me, out of all the sports, the hockey players, for some reason, I don't know why, but to me, the hockey players, I don't know why.
Well, I think it's because it's your favorite sport.
I know. It's my own bias. Yeah. No, but it's like for me, like them, they're like, yeah, I got it. Okay, I have to do this. I don't know if it's like the culture of that sport or whatever it is, but
it's a pretty like strong sport. So like if you tell like, you know, like you say, hey, you got to be a little
more primal sport too. If you think about it, like those guys, you go on the ice, it's like you're on the ice with like 5 other dudes in that team. Like if you get the puck, like they could like kill you with that puck type of thing. So it's like you have
things are moving fast, and you have to be able to like process quickly
and there's a lot of things about standing up for yourself. There's like the hockey's known for like all the unwritten codes and everything. Like you can't do certain things or else you deal with the other team's players and shit like that. You know what I mean? So they understand respect and to a degree, like hierarchy, the code, like the whole thing, which lines are the top line and order, you know? So they really get that stuff. But yeah, anyway, I was saying more so one thing I want to say too, what you were saying about the success too, that's when you made a great point when you were like success, but you know, the money, power, fame. I agree with you. I think success needs to be redefined in 2024 because people see these fucking rich ass billionaires, and no offense to the billionaires, but like they see them as they're the successful people. Oh, you're on Housewives of whatever, you're successful. Oh, you made this, you're on this sports team, you're successful. You're a singer, you're successful. It's like,
meanwhile, they're miserable in their real life, though. You know what I mean? Because I'm super rich, but I don't know who loves me for me, or they just love me for my money, or you know what I mean? Even a beautiful person, like does somebody really like me because of me or because I'm attractive, or you know what I mean? There's all these things that kind of influence the way
it's all external
interact.
Yeah, it's all external. Like money, power, fame's external. It's like, yeah, look at that thing. Like I have this thing and I have this car, and look at how many followers I have, and look at the movie I was in. You know, all this shit. It's like, well, what about you? What's going on inside of you?
So they're so far away from being helped, though. Like, dude, like I don't want to say impossible, but like
very difficult. Well, think about
because
this.
they're not awake yet. They're not. They don't even realize that they have a problem yet, in a sense. So
right.
you have to know. You have to have the awareness that shit, maybe something's wrong. Then you can actually work on it. So they think because they're successful, not that they're always right, in a sense, and they get reinforced with that from
what I'm going to
society.
get into real deeply, I think, is hypnotism, and I'm going to start hypnotizing my clients. So the real rich and famous people, I'm like, no, yeah, I'll fix it. Don't worry. Come over here.
Little Men in Black thing where their memories are wiped or whatever.
Men in Black, yeah.
Just like, you know, you like play this every day, and it's a tone that sets their brain to, oh, I don't know. I'm gonna give them to hypnotize them though. I'm
No, I agree with you. Dude, I thought about this. So you know the guy Joe Dispenza? He does like you ever heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza?
Yeah.
So he has meditations where you basically visualize like the life you want in the morning, right? So I was saying like, well, how awesome would that be to make a meditation of like for a person of like, I'm gonna walk my dog this way. I'm gonna do this today. I'm gonna feel this way. You know what I mean? Like things with their dog. Again,
Focusing on what you want, rather than what you don't want.
Yeah, people are like, hey, so you visualize what you want with, like, you visualize the walk with your dog. They're like, nah. I'm like, well, you do one way or another because you're either visualizing the shit from the past, and here comes this dog, and you're like, oh my god, it's gonna be this whole thing, or you're visualizing what you want to have actually happen. So we're choosing the negative experience or the past experience, and then it's like, and where else may you be doing that in life?
That's the great thing about the dogs. If you look, the dogs are telling you about other things in your life rather than just that moment. If you are truly applying the real knowledge, like the root knowledge of this stuff, man, you will see, oh my God, I'm in avoidance with that person about this, just like this dog is avoiding that. You know what I mean? And all these, I'm in a fight flight state with it, like the three negative, like, things, fight, flight, and avoidance, we practice them unconsciously. Avoidance especially. Procrastination in itself is avoidance. You know what I mean? And people love to procrastinate, myself included. When I was growing up, I would wait till the last second to do my homework all the time. You know what I mean? But then I'd be like getting it done.
I procrastinate now. I'm a little bit hard. I'm not hard on myself anymore. I just give myself a little bit of grace. I'm like, it's all right. I'll be okay.
I think that's healthy.
I try to be. That's what it is.
I think it's good.
You have to do everything immediately, but when you know something should get done and you're just like, I don't want to do it, so I'm going to put it off. That's when it's unhealthy. You know what I mean?
Half in, half out.
They say one of the best things you can do for yourself is do stuff that you hate to do. Basically, that's how you really make your brain like surrender to you rather than we're always surrendering to our brain.
That's the definition of I was gonna say that's cold exposure. That's like, I hate that shit. People say, "Oh yeah, it must be great," and like I take breaks from it for sure, but like when I'm doing it, they're like, "You must like look forward to it." I'm like, I dread it every single time I do it. But then afterwards, I'm like, "That's right, body, we're in control, not you."
Yeah,
all your problems kind of dissipate to a degree.
Right.
Yeah.
I tell people like, go in that. Go jump in an ice bath and start thinking about all your problems. Let me know how that works out. You can't.
That's what happened.
That is a great one too. I like that.
That's exactly what happened when my dog passed, dude. It was like I just stopped. I didn't want to say I stopped caring, but I was like, dude, pain or upsetting people is all relevant now. So, man, here you go.
Yeah.
Very similar.
That's like when I take Muay Thai. I'm still taking this Muay Thai class over here. This crazy Thai guy and shit. It's the same thing. Every time I go to that thing, I'm like, I'm never coming back. I'm never coming back here again. As I'm working out, I'm like, I'm never coming back here. This is an absolute misery, blah, blah, blah. But then by the end of it, I mean, like, and you recover a little bit, I'm like, that was the greatest shit ever. And on the ride home, it's the most peaceful ride home ever created. I'm like, it's like la, 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 la.
Someone could be cutting you off like an asshole, and you're just like,
yeah, anyway.
Yeah, no. There's something to be said about that. There's something 100%. Very important to be said about fully releasing all your energy and then just being in surrender. Your body's in surrender in that moment. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly. That's like
me going on the boat. Like I go on the middle of Lake Michigan, and it's like my buddy got sick yesterday. It's really intense, but man, my brain runs so hard, and when I'm done with that, dude, I'm like, I don't need to do on my phone and watch TV. I can just sit there and fully fulfilled.
So think of it, we're talking about nature, we're talking about exercise, challenge, and then think about how many people don't do this with their dogs. So now imagine how many dogs in America or around the world are not, who are even more primal than we are not getting any of this shit. And we're wondering why they have problems. Yeah, people are talking about, is it positive reinforcement or correction? It's like, what? You guys are talking about shit down there. You need to understand the whole concept of an animal first. And
it's about relationship. Forget positive and negative. And it's about, you form a relationship with your dog. Your dog's going to really do whatever you want the right way. You won't need all the correcting stuff if you know what you're doing, in a sense.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's also like, like I was just thinking too, like how many people label themselves as these certain things. Like, I don't know how many people say to you, like, with dogs anxious, like, well, you know, I'm anxious, so blah, 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 blah. They say that kind of thing. And I'm like,
this happened.
So you know what I said? I try to do something of like take it off of them. Like they see it as like an identity of themselves. Like, I'm anxious. I'm like, oh, I'm Steve. Nice to meet you. You know what I mean? But like, but it's like, I'm anxious. I'm like, well, you're having an anxious reaction to something in life, right? And that's how you're responding to things. And then I go to like right away. I go, so who taught you that?
I'm
not saying someone intentionally taught them, obviously, right? But it's like,
it gets them to externalize it for a second. It gets them from inside to outside.
So that's
like,
not me.
Wait, yeah, exactly.
Wait, what? And
when did I pick that up?
It's a break of the framework of like, wait, so. And I'm not saying anything negative. Like, how nice is it to know that like that thing doesn't have you trapped? It's like, oh wait, so it may not trap me. That might not be it. Yeah, you're doing that, but this dog maybe came into your life to point that out to you and overcome it. And they're like, because think about how many things people do, like to like indirectly with a dog. Let's just say they're doing this the proper way, right? So many people, they get the leash, put the dog on, they just run out the door, right? That's a very anxious, running to the next thing, right? But now we're teaching them, hey, for your anxious dog, we need to stop at the front door, settle them down. We got to take a deep breath, let them wait there, and then go outside. It's like the dog's doing that, but who else is doing that? Yeah. The human who's standing right there and thinking they're doing it for the dog, not for themselves. Yeah. That's why I think it's so great about the dog thing, is a lot of these things that people will do with the dog, it doesn't feel like, God, I'm this subject who has to be changed. It's like, oh, no, I'm helping that dog. But then indirectly, that's what happened for me, dude, is like I was forced into having to get results with dogs. And I was like, dude, me being tense is not going to get, like, I'm not getting results. Me being anxious is not, me being fearful, I'm not getting the results, which means I'm not getting paid. So I got to figure this shit out, you know? And start looking at myself. Why am I doing this? Why am I nervous in this moment? That's the question for people. It's like, why am I feeling anxious? What is this from? And I'm not saying they're going to come up with the answer, oh, it's this thing. But start inquiring. Start looking for it. Like, I'm just going to, you know what? I'll pay attention and see if that comes up, that anxiety thing. I'll give you one Tony Robbins one, which is like a kind of a thing for this. Tony Robbins is this thing where you go to his workshop, right? And you sit there and he goes, all right, I want to give everybody 30 seconds to look around the room and try to see everything that you see in the room that's red. And he goes, go. And he gives you 30 seconds. You're looking all over, blah, blah, blah. He goes, all right, everybody close your eyes. And he closes their eyes. He goes, tell me everything you saw in the room that was blue. And everyone's like,
nothing.
I didn't see shit. Nothing. Right? And then they open their eyes and he goes, is there any blue in this room? And he's like, it's blue there, da, da. But if you're not looking for it, it's just never going to see it. Yeah. It's almost like I got a new car, and it's like now all of a sudden I see that car a lot. When I'm
everywhere.
But I was blind to it, whatever. That's the same thing with anxieties and fears and anger and all this kind of shit that we deal with. It comes in and it just slips into us and just like controls us. And we're just like, okay, blah, blah. And people say, well, what do you think is the act? I think the initial first act is seeing yourself in the anxious state. Seeing yourself in the fear. I see fear and I'm not running from it. You know what I mean?
It's like an addict, basically, knowing that they have a problem first, and then they can start to work on the problem. Right. Like, you know, it's, and people are addicted to this thing unconsciously. Like they're addicted to being anxious, or they're addicted to being tense, or you know what I mean?
On their phone.
You know, and they just
because the body takes over, dude. The body eventually takes over, and it's like, you know, you're having a good day. Things are going great. And then all of a sudden it's your body's like, yo, the anxious thing, like we need to, it's like, oh yeah, what do I have to do for tomorrow? Oh fuck, I have that thing. It's like, there you go. Thank you. You know, it's like the addiction shit.
Yeah.
But my point is, if in that moment someone started saying like, oh fuck, tomorrow, wait. Who cares about tomorrow? I see this thing coming up. To me, that actually doing that over and over is to a degree the act of overcoming anxiety. Along with
And that's kind of what the dog can do for you in the right. If you do know what you're doing with the dog is that reminder that, hey, you're being anxious because I'm anxious now. So remember, like, you need to stop being anxious in a
That's
sense,
right.
you know,
That's
it's
right.
beautiful. It's that connection to the nature that really helps us become the best version of ourselves. If
right.
we know, if we're aware of that connection, you know what I mean?
100%. And then the thing about how many dogs are like begging us to get outside and outdoors and do things and stuff. Like how many dogs, you know, I did a post like, I don't know how long ago, probably like a month or two ago. And it was like, how often should you walk your dog? And I gave like very general advice. I'm like, look, it's so dependent on the dog and where you live, all these kind of things. I'm like, I would give general advice, walk the dog for an hour in the morning and an hour at night. Right? Like take them for 2 walks a day, like good walks a day. And like that would be general advice. If you hire any dogs, obviously more. You have some fat, like 10-year-old bulldog, probably less, right? But
yeah, if you live in Arizona, probably less, you know, or something. But yeah, there's certain caveats, but in general, yeah.
And then the response is like, I couldn't believe how many people were like, yeah, okay, who has that type of time for the dog and that, like all these kind of things. And I'm just like, and you're complaining about your dog's behavior and you're not even willing to dedicate 2 out of the 24 hours of the day to the dog. Like, you know, I think they just think that a dog is supposed to be a machine and just listen to whatever they want them to do.
And they can put them in the backyard and then they're fulfilled because they have a backyard, or you know what I mean? Yeah.
Kids too.
It's just a big crate, I tell them. That yard is just one big crate, just like your house or your apartment is one big crate.
Yeah,
they need to
prison yard.
Yeah. Prison yard. Oh fuck, that's a damn,
right? Because
bro.
think about it, like the thing about
bro,
like most dogs are on house arrest. Never allowed out of the yard side. Right? And then it's like, oh, like, okay, guys, you get your break. Go out to the prison yard, the same exact place you go every single day. You know, you get some time outdoors, not come back inside into your house arrest. You can't leave.
Yeah.
It's torture. I did a post during COVID when COVID first came out. I was like, I did the post. I'm like, so we're stuck at home. We can't get out of the house. No exercise, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, good. Now you know what it's like for fucking like hundreds of millions of dogs in America every single year after year after year after year. Like,
I remember I was
freaking the fuck out, dude, in like 2 weeks of staying home.
I know. I was working for you when that happened.
Yeah, remember? And people keep their dogs trapped inside the house all the time. It's insane.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're actually at over an hour. And dude, thank you so much. We're gonna definitely have you back again if you will.
Yeah, bro. This is great.
If you'll visit us again. Yeah, we'd love to have you.
I'm bringing back my Ask the Pack Leader one too, so I'll definitely have you guys on that one, and we'll answer some questions from the audience and shit too, which is always fun to do.